Hello and a warm welcome to the Asian Festival of Speed, which brings a warm feeling from the crowd for sure. We've had a wonderful opening ceremony here. We welcome viewers from around the world as we get ready for our first TCR Asia event of the year. As you can see, the cars on the grid. We've got a massive crowd. We just had an amazing opening ceremony, a welcoming from the John Nam people, and this is the first and second round of the 2016 series. It's a former Formula One circuit built in 2010, a Herman Tilke designed 5.6 kilometer, 18-turn corner with one of the longest straights in the world at over a kilometer long, which is going to make it very interesting for these pretty small TCR cars. Of course, this is the second year. TCR Asia series. Now, prominent feature all around the world. Pole position goes to a tie. Tin Sri Trai, Kevin So alongside him for the team. Andy Yan, Henry Ho, Tim Etzler and Chad Motorsport men looking to try and get ahead. 500 racing. Michael Poe, Chad Motorsport. So some familiar names. Philip de Souza, of course, so famous in Macau, and Terence Say of Roadstar Racing Team. Bill O'Brien in his first race in TCR, the American living in Hong Kong, Roadstar Racing Team, another man looking for his first entry here. Douglas Coop rounds out. Alongside me, Jonathan Green, is Steve Martin as we get ready for live coverage from the Korea International Circuit. We've been around it, we've been looking at the different corners, we've been watching how TCR have prepared themselves. We've been talking to the team managers and the guys that engineer the cars, but it is still early days for this series. As you can see, a smaller grid than perhaps you'd see some of the other series, but this is only the second year. But TCR is taking off around the world.
Yeah, it certainly is, Jonathan. I mean, it's a concept that I really like. I really like the TCR concept. As you can see, the teams in the pit lane are all excited about the buzz of the start of this race. But the thing about these cars is that the running costs are quite low, and the manufacturers are starting to get involved in a big way. Lots of different manufacturers now around the world are starting to make these TC cars. What is a TC car? Well, basically, it's a GTI car that's one of the high-performance cars with a 2-litre turbo engine. All the manufacturers have to stick to that set of rules. They have to run pretty much a standard fuel system. They can put in paddle shift on the steering wheels. They take all of the comforts out of the inside of the cabin, Jonathan. They can change the bodywork, of course. And the big thing about the car, though, is the cost of the car. The cost is kept down quite low. Although, the car itself, Jonathan, it's a very nice car to drive. And these guys are getting right behind their team at the moment, aren't they? That's the type of thing this is. There's Henry Ho. He's already had a spin.
Where's Henry going?
I don't know, but he's not going in the right direction. He's got himself sorted out now, but that was definitely not a good start for Henry Ho.
No kidding. Not the way he would want to get started. He's also one of the favourites, Henry Ho, multiple champion, of course. And certainly looking forward. I spoke to him on the grid earlier during the opening ceremonies. This amazing outfit he wears, race suit, pink and white. It's all the colours you can imagine, but a very colourful character, Henry Ho. It's certainly one of the favourites, and I don't think he needed to spin right there.
No. It's not what you need to do. You can just see them in the background, of course, the cars warming the tyres up. The way to do that is to get a lot of heat into the brakes and into the rims. Then the heat transfers from the rims into the tyres. So the guys doing as much as they can to warm those tyres up. And you can see, we already saw with Henry Ho what happens, Jonathan, if you actually don't warm them up correctly. You have a spin and perhaps flat spot your tyre, which is not what you want to do. Of course, a nice, reasonably long 14-lap race around this Korean circuit. It's going to be testing for the drivers because they haven't driven here a lot and they haven't had a lot of time to set these cars up. So, basically, I can see the lap times improving lap after lap in the race.
Yeah, I think you'll see, and like I said, it's opening day of school, so to speak. It may be year 2, but I think there's still a lot to dial into these cars. Jazz Motorsport, one of the favourites, and of course Michael Choi, winner of the first championship last year for Honda, and the Honda Civic definitely. How was 32 cars around the world they race?
Yeah, basically that's right. All of the manufacturers now are getting involved and creating race cars to those numbers.
Kevin Gleeson and Gianni Morbidelli racing in the TCR International Series for Honda, and Tin Sritrai in Thailand. And of course, the second round of this championship will be held in Thailand. So the man on the left of your screen there, Tin, is definitely looking to try and make this weekend count so that he can go to Thailand in 3 weeks and put a big crowd on. And I'm expecting, we've got a great crowd here in Korea. I'm expecting the same in Thailand. And there's just a real buzz. I met some of the Thai organizers last night. They are so excited about us going to Thailand and being part of it. And of course, they have a tradition of touring cars in Thailand. Green flag waves then for the first race of 2016. Jonathan Green and Steve Martin bringing you the action. Can Tin Sritrai get off the line from pole position? Out go the lights and away we go. Good clean start at least from the front row.
It is. It's a decent run down to turn 1, though. We've got a car stalled on the start line there. One of the cars is stalled. Can't quite see which one that is at the moment. They're underway. That's good to see.
KCU getting into a little bit of a...
Philip de Souza runs wide there.
Philip de Souza, yeah. Philip de Souza coming off the worst, the Macau driver. As they go down this long straight, and for the first time, Steve, we finally see this long straight in anger. They come out of turn 1 and 2. And head down towards 3, and this is a chance to slipstream. This is a chance to do some overtaking, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And in good lead goes Say of Hong Kong in the number 8. Tin goes into second place. The Thai driver just slotting in there. The end slot on the inside.
Oh, look at Tin as well. He's just gone way off track at the moment, well off track, but he's sitting in behind the 2 Volkswagens at the moment. There's a Liqui Moly car with the Revo car as well, the number 3 and the number 8.
Henry Ho going to the outside as they go to the left-hander. I don't think he's going to slingshot round there, but he has got one past. Yep, he's got one overtake going there. He's going to try and stick on the outside.
Oh!
In there. Oh, no. Around goes Say. And 17 as well. That's Terence Say also spinning out. So we've got Sayat spinning.
Yeah, these boys, they need to settle down, Jonathan. As we saw how slippery these cars are in the first couple of laps, they need to get the heat into the tyres. Oh, there's another one gone.
Well, I think this is a case of cold tyres. It's a lot cooler than it was yesterday. We've got a humid, cooler day than yesterday. And there's a Viper team have just literally got stung badly. And
yeah.
Douglas Koo hits the wall now in the number 65, and he just didn't get that right at all. He gets it into reverse and he'll get it going again, but not the kind of start that you'd hope for TCR Asia 2016. He's now stuck on the grass, the humid, wet grass. There's been no rain as of this point, but it's suddenly got humid this morning.
It certainly hasn't. I mean, it is starting to look like it might threaten. I doubt that it'll rain in this race, Jonathan. But another great indication that we just saw then of the Niza car was the fact that it's front-wheel drive. We haven't mentioned that yet. All of these cars are front-wheel drive. Some of the drivers coming from other classes are having to adapt to that. Probably Tin Sritrai being the guy that's adapted the best at the moment.
He's got a lot of experience in Thailand. In fact, he raced in TCR last year in Asia and in World Touring cars. So even though he's just a youngster, still in his mid-20s, he's got a lot of experience. But it is across the line, Andy Yan of Hong Kong who leads the way. I saw him in the hotel this morning and over the weekend, and he's been so excited joining this Liqui Moly Ensler team who was with the Ford team last year. They're coming back, incidentally, once they redeveloped that car. So Ford are not out of it by any means, but they didn't start their campaign last year as well as they want. Andy Yan was fast. He just didn't get the reliability from the car. Now with Ensler, now with VW, he feels that he's got a chance to really go for it. So I see this battle between Tin and number 3, Andy Yan, really developing. I spoke to him this morning about this battle. We did see Tin as being his biggest opposition, but now he's got the lead. He's got to build on it now. And Tin also, likewise, in the number 9, in second place, has got to think about how he's going to get past the number 3, because the thing about a track like this and the thing about this sort of racing is that everybody's got pretty much identical cars in terms of what they've got in terms of brake horsepower and so on. And obviously there's different manufacturers, but they're so close in times. And when it comes to racing, it's going to be very interesting. You just can't allow somebody to get away, whoever it is and whatever they're in.
No, absolutely, Jonathan. I mean, these cars, they've also got a balance of performance as well. What they do is if the car does have a little bit of an advantage, they just add a little bit of weight to it, of course, to keep the cars even, and that's worked out by the officials over the weekend and the FAI as well. So it really does keep a good balance, and it's working well. The reason that you know that is because you can have a look at the moment. We've got Volkswagen in first place, Honda in second place, and Seat in third place.
Yeah, you mentioned the FIA, exactly. This is a big part of this series. It's an international series with national series as well, and it's growing in development, and many believe that this is, well, it is quite honestly the future of touring car racing in many ways. This particular TCR format is affordable, and it's got so many now sign-ups for the international series already in its, what, 5th, 6th round in Europe. They raced in Spa and Estoril already, and it's growing on leaps and bounds, and you only have to go to the website to see just how much news, how much stories, and how many great drivers are involved. I mentioned Gianni Morbidelli, Formula One star, involved with Honda, and here in Asia we've got a combination of the young up-and-coming stars of touring cars and some more established ones like the likes of Henry Ho and Andy Yan, who's a 4-time China touring car champion. Andy?
Roloff Bruin's doing a good job at the moment in third position as well. He's just done 25.2, which is his quickest lap of the race, and that's just a couple of tenths slower than the two guys out front, Yan and Shitsuri.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch the times. Like you say, nothing between that last lap, and very close indeed. Henry Ho still in fourth place, and not by any means out of this. This group just behind this lead group could catch up if these two fight, which they are, as you can see. Tin almost getting past there as they came out of 3.
It's amazing when you look at, if you look at the qualifying results from practice, Jonathan, Tin in the number 9 car, he dominated, didn't he? He dominated every practice session, qualifying as well.
Well, at one point he was 2 seconds ahead of the chasing pack. It closed in a little bit towards the end of qualifying, but in the first couple of practices he was fine.
It looks like Andy Yan might have been foxing, because he's really getting that Liqui Moly car, the Volkswagen Liqui Moly GTI. He's giving him a lot of curry. He can't find a way past at the moment.
No, it's going to be interesting. I had a feeling that Andy was going to be up for this, and like you say, Tin has stolen the limelight up until this point, but now VW step up with Team Ensla. Of course, anybody who knows these colours from Asia will know of France Ensla and his team, a former touring car champion himself, the German, whose name the team belonged to, of course, and so the Ensla name continues here in Asia, and as always, at the front it seems. And again, Andy Yan doing all he can now. This is only a 14-lap race, 12 laps to go, so you can't really relax, and you can't sort of bed yourself in. You've just got to go all out on every lap and every corner, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, Andy Yan can't afford to make a mistake, because Tin in the Honda behind him, in the Jazz Honda, is absolutely waiting to pounce the first time that he gets a chance. The thing I like about this class, though, is that the fact that it is spreading worldwide, that TCR in Asia, it means a lot to the Asian countries. Basically, the reason for that is these young drivers, they can come into this series and they can get some confidence and some experience in these cars, and then perhaps they can have the odd drive in Europe or Germany or the other countries that are running TCRs.
Well, I mentioned we're going to Thailand next, and like I said, if Tin can get a good result from this, the crowd and the following for him is already big already, because we saw him kind of vault into action last year in TCR, and I think he's just going to really get huge support behind him, and that's what this is all about. You get national heroes, national champions, put them on an international level. We saw at Singapore last year when you bring the international guys here and then put the Asian guys in. It's really a lot of fun and a great event. So yeah, like you say, we're building young heroes, and Tin just one of them. Now, is this group catching up? Because I wonder, because Henry Ho was the fastest man out there. Bruins did a 2:24.2 last time out. So you're right, Bruins and Henry Ho catching these two leading cars. So we're going to in for a four-way battle in a moment.
Yeah, Yan is driving very defensively at the moment. You can see him closing the line down, not really giving Tin any way through. So he's closing down, and him closing the line down like it is driving defensively means that it's very difficult to do that optimum lap time, which is allowing the two guys behind to catch up. There's 2.9 of a seconds to 4th position at the moment.
And they're all in the 224s, the top 4, so nothing really in lap times between them. But as these two fight at the front, they're only going to give tenths here, tenths there. Every corner that they kind of challenge each other, they're just going to play into the hands of the car number 1, Bruins, chasing in 3rd position.
Yeah, well, that gap's coming down all the time. You can just see Bruins now, that's less than a second to the 2 guys in front. So that's a very confidence-inspiring drive for him so far in this race. And both the man in 3rd and 4th were quicker than the first 2 cars out front at the moment. You can see under braking, the Honda driver, Tin, from Thailand, is really trying hard. He's strong under the brakes, but look at the man in 3rd place, Bruins. He's closing him down even more.
Yeah, and incidentally, Bruins may be familiar name too. He's raced in the Porsche Carrera Cup in the past, and the Viper Nizar Racing man is looking to try and take on the Ford project later in the year. So just playing a role here of kind of getting himself used to the car and making sure he keeps his hand in terms of racing. They cross the line again then, 10 laps to go in the first race of the 2016 TCR Asia Series.
Yeah, that gap under... Yeah, there's your gaps, under 2 seconds between those front leading 4 cars at the moment. We've got a safety car just there in the background as well.
I think he's just getting into position rather than coming on track. So down this long straight, in fact 2 long straights with this very slow right-hand corner between them, and then down to another long straight, but then a left-hander. So we stood up there earlier in the weekend, and it's very fast indeed going into there for sure. And then on the anchors and have to switch it down to this back straight past the national pits here in Korea. Of course, this is a former Formula 1 track and hasn't been used for a couple of years, but a Herman Tilke design, and we've had some great races here, dominated by Red Bull. Sebastian Vettel.
Oh, look at that.
Nice move. Has he made it stick? Yes, he has. So battles throughout, 2 distinct battles going on. And actually, this battle for 3rd now is actually going to slow them down if they continue. What they needed to do was kind of work together, if they should have done, and try to catch up with the leaders, because if they keep fighting like this, they're going to lose touch with the leaders. Yeah,
Henry Ho had a massive go around the outside there. He couldn't get past Roloff Bruins, of course, and the Viper Nizza Racing Seat.
Yeah, and Henry Ho, of course, champ, motorsport man, a Macau driver, been at the Macau Grand Prix. He was saying at the opening ceremony was like the Macau Grand Prix this morning because, you know, all the pomp and circumstance, all the photographs and the media out there, really enjoying it. But Henry, not afraid to mix it. And a big track like this is easy work for him, so to speak. But he's lost a lot of ground in the last couple of corners from that little battle he was having. Yeah, Bruins now is caught up with the lead group. So yeah, Henry has got work to do now. He needs to catch up. There's plenty of time, 10 laps to go, but he's certainly lost sight of the top 3 for a moment.
Yeah, he's obviously had some sort of moment, because he was the fastest man on track last time round by quite a margin. He was nearly a second quicker than our leader and half a second quicker than Bruins, the man in front. But obviously he's had some sort of moment and has really lost that toe to the man in front of him, Bruins, at the moment.
TCR Asia crossing the line with 9 to go now in race 1 of 2 here from Korea. They have 2 races here in the Korea International Circuit before heading to Thailand. And they too will be traversing Asia just as GTA will. And big schedule ahead of them, lot of racing to come yet. And a lot more cars to come yet. Talking to David Soninger, the head and CEO of Motorsport Asia, and he is excited about the entries and the level of interest being shown in the series. And as this season goes on, and as we go from country to country, we'll see more and more entries. And that's the exciting part. So I can understand why you want to get some points on the board now. Oh,
look at Tree Try. He's really pushing now. He's trying as hard as he can, but he just can't find a way through on the super tight Andy Yan out in front. Andy, once again, look at the different lines there. Andy is just
taking defensive lines.
Absolutely. He knows. I mean, in qualifying, the lap times that we were seeing were like the high 21, so they're well off that at the moment.
Mads Fischer watching on, the project manager for Honda. Interesting character from Denmark and very knowledgeable on all things Honda Civic.
Yep, all for, of course, Honda with a brand new engine this year, aluminium block, turbocharged standard from the factory, so some big changes.
Yeah, it wasn't standard before, so they had to add the turbo, but
that's
now
right.
It's standard with the turbo.
They brought a new model out, but definitely quite a lot of work goes into these cars for the amount of performance you get.
Well, you can understand why Tin is pushing on, because every lap in the last 3, he's been faster than the man in front of him, but he hasn't been able to get past. Ricardo Bruins is right there and just waiting to pounce in 3rd place. And actually, Henry Ho, his last lap at 2:24.9, he was quicker than Ho last time, and Michael Ho, excuse me. And I think Henry Ho and Michael Ho now starting to catch on the man in front of him, Bruins. So it's going to be interesting to see. There is confirmation. Fastest lap, 2:24.011 by Henry Ho.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys now pretty much running it in that front pace as well, all the way down to 7th place. You've even got one of the C brothers there as well. He's doing he's in 24 pace as well, sitting in 8th position. So it's good for him as well. William O'Brien, of course, is back in 10th position with crew behind him in 11th at the moment.
Yeah, you had a chat with William, I know, earlier this morning. Really enjoying it. He's an American, but living in Hong Kong, but his first experience of TCR as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's obviously here because he runs a team in another class, but he said to me this morning, he said, well, you know, why would I come here and not race? So he's actually looking at running a couple of TCR cars in the TCR Asian series next year. So it's good for him to get out there, have a bit of fun, watch his real driver drive well, and he's definitely out there enjoying this racing.
Well, this is turning into a cracking 4-way battle at the front, and still Andy Yan holding on. But look at Tin Shui Shai. He is pushing almost the Liqui Moly man around this circuit. And really now what Tin needs to think about is, rather than just sort of trying at every corner, picking a spot, getting good drive out of one particular corner and then going for it, because so far he's just playing into the hands of Bruins now in 3rd place and stuck with them now. And Henry Ho, as you can see, has caught right back up. That fastest lap has meant now we have a 4-way battle once again.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to make a move very, very soon on Andy Yan. He's certainly caused the group to bunch up behind him at the moment, and I don't think that Bruins in 3rd place will be happy and sit behind like Tin has for the last 4 or 5 laps.
Well, I have to say, Michael Ho in 5th place, and then Philippe de Souza of Macau 6th. They are a long way off this group, some 13 seconds adrift, so it really is a battle.
Here we
for the
go.
podium. Bruins looks for the inside. He's side by side with Shit.
Oh!
Round. Oh, disaster for the tie, who is tied in knots there by Bruins, and that just ruins his day. Absolutely, he did nothing wrong. Bruins was being aggressive, and the stewards might have something to say about that, because Tin was the innocent bystander of that, but the Honda Civic goes round, and what a shame.
Yeah, Bruin with frustration, of course. They're just setting in, tried to make a move up the inside that just didn't stick, Jonathan. There was no way that he was going to pull that off. But he knew that he was carrying that little bit of extra pace. Sometimes if you sit behind the car in front like Tin did, you sort of get sucked into doing that pace. And that's what happened there. Tin was sucked into doing that pace. Bruins didn't want that to happen. So what he did was he thought, I've caught him. I've got to keep that momentum. He tried to carry that momentum through, and it didn't work out that time. He's in 2nd position at the moment, but I'll tell you what, I bet he's sweating in that seat more than normally would be.
Let's have a look at the times. 2:25.3 by the leader Yan, 2:25.4 by Bruins, so almost identical. And in fact, likewise from Henry Ho, he's on the same pace. Then it drops right off as Sri tries to catch up, and that was a terrible lap, because he comes across the line with that 2:36, which leaves him way behind now. But maybe in the last 7 laps he can catch up, but I doubt it. There he is, just coming into shot now. It's just going to be very hard indeed.
It is going to be hard for him, but one thing we do know is that in qualifying he was capable of doing 21s and low 22s. So if he can, he's lost 11 seconds in that spin, which is pretty impressive, but with 7 laps to go, 2 seconds a lap, he can certainly take a big chunk. And look at the lights flashing behind there on the number 88 car.
Yeah, Henry Ho senses his opportunity with 7 to go, and I don't know, those lights have been that right. That
no, it looks like
right front has been doing that.
Yeah,
for
I think
a while.
that's an indicator.
I think it's either an indicator or he's got some intermittent problem with just the light system. There won't be anything wrong with the car, but I did notice it earlier. He's not doing a Kurosawa on us.
No,
I'm
definitely
referring
not.
to the GT Asia man who was flashing his lights heavily to win the race. Like, he almost ran out of electricity, I would have thought, on that Bentley yesterday.
Absolutely, but look at the lead that Andy Yan's got now. He's driven a perfect race, actually. He's drove defensively from the start. He knew that he didn't have the outright pace, but he really is using his experience to hold that lead position at the moment in the number 3 Liqui Moly car.
Like I mentioned earlier, 4-time CTCC champion Andy Yan, and he really likes the future of this series, and you know, Still racing in China, of course, but the chance to go international racing at an affordable price is absolutely what he wants to do, and he's certainly making a name for himself. He was part of the championship last year, as I said before, but didn't get the results, and he really sees his chance to join the Volkswagen team and Kurt Trimmel and his team. Obviously one of the most professionally put together teams in terms of how they prepare the cars. We were watching them as the weekend's gone on, and it's been quite superb to see them go about their business. And Kurt gave us a full look at each of the cars and how they worked and how they made up the cars.
I thought we were going to get a drive for a minute.
Yeah, we could have done. But what it did impress me was he was explaining, how the cars, if they do get a ding, if they do get a crash, and how quickly they can repair them, and also how, unexpensive some of the parts are that make it affordable to go racing.
Yeah, and the good thing with these cars, Jonathan, also is that when you buy them from the factory, they're actually made on a production line, which means that you don't have to hand make parts. You just get the parts from the factory in a kit that comes with the car, and that's what makes them so easy to run as a privateer. A really, really good concept.
So look, here's the overtake. Your thoughts, Steve? I mean,
he's gone, he wanted to keep the momentum. Tins turned in on his line, and of course Bruins just tapped the back.
Well, it is under investigation. No surprise that the stewards are looking at it, and we'll get, as soon as we get confirmation of the result of that investigation, we'll give it to you. I'm fairly sure that was a little overzealous by Bruins, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely,
but we'll see.
Yeah.
But they are racing.
They're definitely
so
racing.
What do you do?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those hard ones. I mean, Bruins wanted to try and get through the gap. He didn't want to sit and, as I said before, maintain that pace, because that's the worst thing you can do sometimes. He thought he saw a gap, but obviously wasn't there.
Well, he just put in a very quick lap, a 2:23.5, so the times are coming down in the latter stage of this race, and Bruins in second place, the gap 0.709 at the moment. Certainly time with 6 laps to go to catch up, and Henry Ho is far from out of it in the number 88 as well, because Henry Ho is just there in the distance, and there's no reason why you can't see that man coming through from third place after he dropped back a little bit earlier in the race. I think he made a few mistakes, and he already made a mistake on the warm-up lap, of course.
Yeah, it's been a difficult race for him, hasn't it? But out front, Andy Yan is he's just driving so beautifully, hasn't made any mistakes, very smooth, gentle in the car, staying out of trouble, driving defensively. He's doing everything that he needs to win this race. There's another battle back in the pack between the number 8 car, the Teamwork Motorsports car of Kin, of course, there with the number 26 car of Philip de Souza. Remember, he had an off.
The reason being that Save just actually got past Souza.
Yeah.
So when they passed the line last time out, Philip de Souza was ahead in 6th place, and Say was just behind him. Kevin was he's been trailing him all race long, but finally he's got past him. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as well as they cross the line again with 5 to go. Andy Yan still doing a very good job. He's held off all comers so far, but will he hold off the hard fighting Viper that is a snake like Bruins at the moment? And he's a snake in the grass for sure. Certainly that's how Shritri will be feeling about it, because I think he'll feel happy about how it all came down. It's under investigation. There he is in the background in 4th place. He's still in the hunt, and as you mentioned, we'll take a look at his time as he crosses the line this time. 2:23.2. So he's on the pace for sure, and he's certainly faster than Henry Ho in 3rd place. But that said, he's not any faster than the leaders. So although Tin is putting in some great pace now, confirmation 2:23.277, the fastest lap of the race. It won't be enough if the leaders stay on there. He may possibly catch Henry Ho, but that's a big ask all the same.
It's definitely going to be a big ask, because I mean, these guys out front at the moment are just they've got quite a big gap. He would have had to have dropped into the low 22s, which didn't qualify. It's a big ask during a race, especially after about 10 laps, which is what they've nearly completed now. So it looks like the tie, not going to have the dream start that he wanted with a win. But he still may end up on the podium. It depends on what they do to this man on screen at the moment. Roloff Bruins, of course, is under investigation, Jonathan. So
I say he goes for it. I mean, he's got nothing to lose now.
Absolutely. Absolutely, he needs to. I mean, you can't have a safe second at the moment after using that force to get through. Of course, that Seat Leon car is a very successful model in this TCR series.
The most successful car, yeah, absolutely.
But the other cars, the Volkswagen, the Honda, they also have won races around the world, and a lot of development is going into this series, which is going to bring them all up pretty even. And I don't honestly think that you can pick between one and the other.
Well, you mentioned that SEAT have been so successful in Europe, and that's the whole point. You know, the idea of this to tailor the regulations worldwide, to control the production and development of the running costs worldwide for the national series, but also give the comparison, because in terms of setup, in terms of data, they've got a lot of data they can start with. And here we go, Bruin stands side by side, 4 to go after this. Andy Yan leads them across the line, but only just. He had a moment there for a second, blue flag waving, and that's to let the back markers out the way, because there's an almighty battle here between Andy Yan and Roelof Bruins. And he's a racing man, doing everything he can at the moment. But they're starting to catch up. William O'Brien just ahead of them now. He's in 10th position.
Fastest man on track at the moment, though, was Try again with a 23.2. He pulled another 0.8 out of the guys in front of him. So he's only 6 seconds now behind Ho in 3rd position. So the podium not out of the question.
No, it's not out of the question. And I almost think he deserves that, regardless of the investigation, because he's pushed so hard and has been the hero so far of the weekend, for sure. His mum's in the pit making some lunch. I saw her earlier. She was telling me about his helmet. He's got 2 huge heroes of his on the back of his helmet, Try. He's got Prince Bira, one of the most famous racing drivers that Thailand ever produced. Back in the day, back in the early days of Grand Prix racing, the Prince Bira brothers. Oh,
big lock up there.
Big lock up there. And he's got a picture of one of the princes on his helmet and tinted, so not a bad couple of heroes.
No, absolutely.
Slightly different, but
absolutely.
That's how it works.
You've got to mix it up, Jonathan, don't you? You've got to keep it mixed up. But that gap now out to half a second between Yan and Roelof.
Yeah, and Jan's done a good job in the last lap or so to just pull ahead. I think those back markers may have helped a little bit to give him a little bit of breathing space, but it's certainly not enough with 4 laps to go to let him. No further action taken in the incident. So Bruins is free to attack and go for victory. And I wonder if he'll come past the start-finish with that information from his board to let him know that he's unfettered in terms of going for the win here. And I don't think he was thinking anything different before that, but now he really has got no further action from that incident, so therefore they've decided it was just purely a racing incident.
Well, yeah, to be fair, he did. He just dove up the inside. Didn't give him a hard tap, you know, just a little touch on the rear, and it just turned poor old Try around. So, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, but that's part of racing, and you've got to say that this class of racing, you need to see a bit of bargy-bargy, don't you?
Yes, you do. So they come across towards the first corner again, crossing the line now. Yan does a 2:23.3, almost identical times again. The gap, less than half a second, I would say. Officially 0.6, but he closed it in, under braking for the first turn there. Henry Ho still 5 seconds adrift in 3rd place. And where is Try? Crosses the line at 2:24 this time. 2:23.8, excuse me, this time. But that said, Henry Ho up the pace as well. He did a 2:23.9. Yeah,
difficult for the man in the number 9 Honda at the moment. Unfortunately for him, he's looking like he's going to finish in 4th position. So it's unfortunate for the young Thai. But now the battle at the front rages on, Jonathan.
No question. And really impressed with Andy Yan. He's put up with a lot of pressure. First of all from Tin, and now from Bruins. And I think there's certainly time with 3 laps to go for Bruins to build on this. He just needs to be careful not to make any mistake. Here's the opportunity that lies ahead. You can see the back markers, and if they catch them in a slow or technical part of the circuit, not on the straights, then there's a chance of Bruins to catch up.
The Liqui Moly car is definitely getting good drive off the turns, and it carries a good turn of top speed as well. Of course, the top speed of these cars down that long 1.1 kilometre straight here, about 225 to 230 kilometres an hour, so they're certainly not hanging around.
No, certainly not. Now, we're coming up to the back marker now.
Another little lock up there for Andy Yan.
Yeah, I think you can feel the pressure for sure.
Well, the tyres are starting to wear now, and I mean, Bruins has just caught him up quite a bit in the last couple of sectors, hasn't he? He's sitting right on the rear there, but still, that Liqui Moly car is just getting great drive. Look at that rear wheel off the ground.
Yeah, I was about to say, he really is it looks very stiff in terms of its setup. It's going on 3 wheels at all times, whereas the car behind just sort of glued to the track, but that doesn't mean he's not fast, that's for sure. He's just got it nice and stiff and how he wants it. But now he's got trouble because they're exactly the worst possible scenario. He's in this tight section at the end of the track, 2 corners to go. Before they get on the straight, he got the number 3 in front of him.
Yeah, of course, that number 3 is Andy Way.
He needs to get out of the way.
Yeah, and he has. He's moved over for the 2 leaders. But look at the run that the man Bruins has got.
Yeah, he has got a run on him. They go down to the first turn. 2 laps to go. He gets jigs to the outside. Is he going to make it round there? That's going to be tough.
He's
he thinks
tried.
about it. He thought about it. He now tries. If he gets good drive, he's gone wide, but he's got good drive now. Yeah. And if he sticks right behind Andy Yan here down this long 1 kilometre straight, there's a chance.
Yeah, he fluffed that. He had a good opportunity, in my opinion, if out of turn 1, if he'd have just used a different line and carried that speed, he could have perhaps slipstreamed the Volkswagen up this long straight. But he tried to go for the overtaking manoeuvre in turn 1. Just wasn't going to happen, and he actually lost a little bit of room there, Jonathan. Look at that.
It was William O'Brien who created the opportunity for Bruins to attack then. That was the back marker that was in the way. And here comes Henry Ho as well, just behind the number 7. And he'll try to get past as well. Sritrai in the background. Time running out for him in terms of that podium potential. But Bruins looks to the inside. He's not close enough, surely. And I think he's got to be careful here. I think he's got to make one distinctive move rather than kind of show his nose up the front, up the inside here and there, because I don't think Andy's going to be intimidated by that. And I think what Bruins needs to do is make one decisive move.
Well, Bruins is actually really putting the pressure on now. He's starting to give him a little bit of a tap. He just tapped him then in the rear. He's saying that I'm here, I'm not hanging around, and I'm not as polite as you might think. So he's really...
Well, we know he's not polite.
Yeah, but he's really putting the pressure on everywhere. I mean, he's tried to get past. He can't do it. So what he's doing now, Jonathan, is he's just attacking everywhere to try and force the man in front into a mistake. Let him see out the rear window. Everywhere he looks, if he looks in the left mirror, and he's there. If he looks in the right mirror, he's there. He's not giving him a minute's break.
Yeah, this is great driving by both men, actually. Good defensive driving by Jan, but Ricardo Bruins doing a really good job of pushing hard here in the closing stages. And you see now that Seat pushing on, he too on 3 wheels as they went through the right-hander. One lap to go after this, Steve.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting. I don't know if Bruins has got a position on the track that he's going to be strong enough, but definitely in the mid-sector, he's good on the entry, probably not quite as good on the exit, but definitely on the entry, he's got good entry speed in the Seat Leon.
Great pictures from our friends at NBC here in Korea who are showing all the racing for the Korean audience, and a massive crowd in the grandstand to cheer on this last lap. They get up on their feet as they go past our commentary position and down towards the first corner again. Andy Yan holding on for dear life. Bruins not close enough, or is he? He looks to the inside, but again, can't pull it off. They come around to the double apex turn 1, and now the long straight. Another opportunity now for Bruins as they head down that back straight. He's got to tuck himself in and try to get a little bit of a toe, and then maybe look to the inside at turn 3. Don't think he's close enough. This has been a great performance from Andy Yan.
Yeah, he lost a bit of drive again. He's just not getting the drive out of the corners. Perhaps he's entering too quick and not getting the drive on early, like the Volkswagen man in front.
Sritrai still in 4th position, the Thai, who was pole position, remember, and had a great run early on, but he hasn't been able to catch Henry Ho in 3rd, who remains looking as though he's going to take that podium. Now the only question remains, can Roelof Bruins take one opportunity and make it stick?
Jan is struggling. That last lap was a 26. He's 3 seconds off his best lap of the race.
So too was Bruins.
Well, he's behind him.
So I wonder why.
Well, obviously, like, he's struggling for grip. We've seen that rear wheel locking up more towards the end of the race, and Bruins looks like he's in a better attacking position at the moment, but he just can't get past the Volkswagen.
It's VW versus Seat. Seat with that huge history, and of course themselves, Volkswagen, very successful around the world of racing. But perhaps not as much as Seat in TCR. But will first blood in TCR Asia 216 go to VW or Seat? It's been close all through the race. Honda in 3rd and 4th position. Here comes Bruins.
Difficult to go around the outside. There's a gap.
Here he goes.
There's a gap. He's got his nose up the inside.
He has. Great overtake by Bruins, and he's made it stick. They're side by side as they go through. And now for a moment, Andy Yan loses out, and he's lost drive there too, and that's surely going to give it to Bruins. And it's going to have to be a last dashed effort by Andy Yan, but I think he's blown it, and Bruins goes through. And you can see the smiles on the faces of the Viper team, they are delighted with that. Well, they should be.
Yeah, that was a fantastic manoeuvre by Bruins. He really did. That was a lot cleaner move than he did to Shitrai earlier on in the race. And look at the gap he's pulled out already. Poor old Andy Yan, after driving so defensively, is going to miss out on this one, Jonathan.
Here's the checkered flag then, and it goes to Bruins. Ricardo Bruins flashes the lights to take victory. Andy Yan will be bitterly disappointed with that. Henry Ho will take third place in the number 88. He crosses the line now. The 9 of Shitrai, the pole man, crosses line in 4th position, and Michael Ho, a long way back, will cross the line in 5th place. But an interesting and very, well, not controversial, but certainly a lot of talking points for sure. The stewards had their look and had their investigation, and they gave the benefit of the doubt to Roelof Bruins, and that gives him victory, and it gives Seat first blood here in Asia 216.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. All weekend, the Honda's been the most competitive, and perhaps the Volkswagen the second most competitive, and the Seat has snuck through for the victory.
Well, you saw the Vipanese racing team doing their sort of huddle, sort of NFL football huddle beforehand to kind of psych themselves up, and the team were ready, and I think it rubbed off on the driver as well. Great performance.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, they've been the underdogs of the weekend in reality, and they've worked their way through, done a good job in practice, a good job in qualifying, and managed to get themselves up through. But of course, this is race 1. We've still got another one to come later
I was
on.
about to say, yeah, long way to go yet for the weekend in terms of these guys racing. And they'll get back to the pits, they'll get some repairs done. Hopefully come out fighting again.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion still about that overtaking manoeuvre earlier on in the race as well. Although it's been sorted, I'm sure there'll be some discussion in the pits, probably privately between the drivers.
Yes, that's going to be interesting for sure. It's also going to be interesting to see in terms of success ballast or whatever, because we've got that to take into factor too. So we'll bring that to you at the start of the second race. But for now, all that matters is that Bruins has taken victory here. Confirmation of the result then. Roelof Bruins with victory over Andy Yan, who held the lead for most of the race. Henry Ho third, Tin Shitrai of Thailand fourth, Michael Ho fifth, Kevin Say, both Macau, 5th and 6th, and so too Philip de Souza. Then Terence Say in 8th position, and Yu Kam Cheung in 9th. So that concludes our TCR Asia coverage. And congratulations once again to Bruins, who wins the first race. But of course, there's one more race to come from Korea.
Andy Yan had a fantastic weekend, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And certainly sits him well for the Thai round, and he's really keen to go for glory here with the Ensign team. Such disappointment last year. He was very quick, straight from the get-go in Malaysia in the Ford, but it just didn't come to anything. A lot of mechanical gremlins as they develop the car, which incidentally will be back. The Ford Focus looking to get back into the championship. But congratulations also to Nico Prayitno of Malaysia, the team manager. And there's your podium results then. The winner, Roelof Bruins for the Viper Nisa Racing team. Andy Yan of Liqui-Moly Ensler team in 2nd place. And Henry Ho for the Champ Motorsport team taking 3rd.